The Brewers take on the Cards, 1:15 Eastern first pitch. Both teams are minus $1.10, totals 8.5. Brett Anderson for Milwaukee, Jay Happ for St. Louis. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on this video that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at brockpage.com. We're 8-2 in our last 10 $1.99 daily best plays on that very site. And if you want to access today's $1.99 daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. We're also 10-3 in our last 13 Major League Baseball tier package picks on that very same page. And the good news is we have another Major League Baseball tier package pick going off here this evening. We currently have over 850 members who are signed up and active on brockpage.com. And once again, if you want to see which one of these free picks on this video that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website. And once again, that's brockpage.com. Now, when it comes to this ball game here, Jay Happ comes into today's matchup with a 5.86 ERA and a 1.48 WHIP. This Cardinals pitching staff is dead last in the majors in strikeouts per game. They're also walking over 3.7 batters per contest. They're taking on a first-place Milwaukee club who won 4 out of their last 5. Milwaukee plays their best baseball on the road, and that currently includes 50 wins away from home. This Brewers pitching staff also leads the league in fewest runs allowed per contest on the road. When it comes to the total in this one, Milwaukee's 43-34 to the under when they bat first. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are 20-14 to the under in their divisional contests at Busch Stadium. Give me Milwaukee minus $1.10 and the over 8.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Angels versus the Rangers, 2:05 Eastern start time. The LA Angels are minus $1.40, totals 8. Alex Cobb for Los Angeles, Glenn Otto for Texas. Otto's 0-3 with an 8.02 ERA and a 1.55 WHIP. The last place Rangers have really struggled at the plate this year. They're scoring only 3.8 runs a game. They're taking on an Angels club who won 3 out of their last 6. And they also rank in the top 10 in fewest road strikeouts at the plate. Shohei Ohtani's hit 45 home runs and knocked in 98. The slugger's currently in the top 5 in both home runs and OPS. The Angels also have Alex Cobb on the bump here today. He's 8-3 with a 3.46 ERA. Now, total-wise, the Angels are 20-14 to the under in their divisional road games. Meanwhile, the Rangers have gone 44-33 to the under at Globe Life Field. I'm going to lean toward the LA Angels minus $1.40 and the under 8. Next contest, Cubs, Pirates, 6:35 Eastern Standard Time. Both teams are minus $1.10, totals 8.5. Justin Steele for Chicago, Miguel Yajure for Pittsburgh. Now Yajure's he's got just 13 innings under his belt this year with the Pirates. 0-1 record and a 4.85 ERA. The last place Pirates score fewer runs per contest than any other team in the majors. They're taking on a Chicago club who's got Justin Steele on the mound. 3 wins for the lefty in just 50 innings of work. He's also got 52 strikeouts on the season. Of course, I'm referring to Steele. And when it comes to the total on this one, 8 out of Chicago's last 10 ball games got over the line. 3-1 at the over in their last 4 on the road. Meanwhile, the Pirates went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me Chicago minus $1.10 and the over 8.5. Next matchup, Red Sox, Orioles, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. Boston's minus 225, totals 10. Nick Pivetta for the Bo Sox, Alex Wells for Baltimore. Now, Wells is just 1-3 with a 7.61 ERA and a 1.75 WHIP. The last place Orioles have the worst record in the American League. They also allow more runs per contest than any other team in the Bigs. They're taking on a Boston team who loves to hit the baseball. Rafael Devers hit 35 home runs and knocked in 108. Meanwhile, Xander Bogaerts is in the top 20 in batting average. The shortstop's currently hitting .296. The Sox also have Nick Pivetta on the mound here today. 9-7 record and 166 strikeouts. When it comes to the total on this one, Boston went 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. 2-0 to the under in their last couple of road games. Meanwhile, Baltimore is 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me Boston -1.5 in the under 10. Next game, Yankees, Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern Standard Time. The Blue Jays are -145, totals 8.5. Robbie Ray for Toronto, Corey Kluber for New York. Now, Kluber's 5-3 with the Yankees with a .382 ERA. New York's won 7 out of their last 8 ball games, top 5 in the league in striking batters out. This New York pitching staff is allowing only 7.5 hits a game. They're taking on a Blue Jays club who lost 4 out of their last 7 themselves, and they also have a losing record at home against divisional opponents. And as good as these guys are offensively, this Blue Jays lineup is in the bottom 10 in home walks at the plate. When it comes to the total in this one, Toronto's 20-14 to the over against the AL East at home. Meanwhile, the Yankees went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me New York +1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next contest, Marlins, Mets, 7:10 East. The New York Mets are -195, total 7.5. Rich Hill for New York, Edward Cabrera for Miami. This Miami pitching staff's in the top 10 in fewest road walks allowed. They're taking on a Mets lineup who's been pretty much anemic all season long. They're dead last in home scoring, and they're averaging just 3.6 runs a game at Citi Field. The Mets have also lost 7 out of their last 10. Rich Hill's yet to get a win on the season with the Mets. He's 0-4 in New York. When it comes to the total on this one, the Mets went 60% to the under in their last 10 ball games. Miami's 4-2 to the under in their last 6 road games. Give me the Miami Marlins +1.5 and the under 7.5 runs. Next contest, Rays, Astros, 7:10 Eastern start time. Houston's -150, totals 8.5. Lance McCullers for Houston, Colin McHugh for Tampa Bay. Now, McHugh's 6-1 with a .160 ERA and a .95 whip. The righties also struck out 73 batters in just 62 innings of work. The first-place Rays are leading the majors in scoring. Brandon Lowe's hit 35 home runs. Meanwhile, Austin Meadows is 9th in the league with 103 RBI. They're taking on a Houston club who lost 5 out of their last 6 themselves. They also failed to cash in on the run line in their last 3 straight at Minute Maid Park, 3-7 against the number in their last 10 at any location. And as good as McCullers has looked this season, he's walked 75 batters, kind of having some control issues. Now, total-wise, Houston's 43-34 to the over on their home field. Tampa Bay's 49-28 to the over when they bat first. Give me Tampa Bay +1.5 and the over 8.5. Next ball game, Phillies, Braves, 7:20 Eastern start time. The Atlanta Braves are -150, totals 8.5. Ian Anderson for Atlanta, Kyle Gibson for Philadelphia. Now, Gibson's having a pretty good season with the Phils here. 6-3 record and a .287 ERA in Philadelphia. The righty's also struck out 94 batters with his new club, and he's got himself a 1.18 whip. Despite a real bad stretch of games over the past few days, Philly still won 5 out of their last 8, and they're in the top 5 in road walks at the plate. Bryce Harper's leading the majors with a 1.041 OPS. The outfielder is also batting .308 with 34 home runs. They're taking on an Atlanta team who actually plays their worst baseball at Truist Park. This Atlanta lineup's also striking out over 9.1 times a game on their home field. Now, when it comes to the number in this one, Atlanta's gone 21-13 to the over against the NL East at home. Meanwhile, Philadelphia is 42-35 to the over in their road games themselves. Give me Philadelphia +1.5 in the over 8.5 runs. Next ball game, Tigers, Twins, 740 East. Minnesota's minus 180, totals 8.5. Joe Ryan for the Twins, Tarek Skubal for Detroit. Skubal struck out a lot of people this year. 163 strikeouts in 143 innings of work. The lefty's got himself a 1.24 whip. The Tigers are averaging nearly 6 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Minnesota. And speaking of the last place Twins, they've got a losing record at Target Field. They're also in the bottom 5 in runs allowed per game. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, the Twins are 22-14 to the over in their divisional home games. As a matter of fact, Minnesota's going 92-66 to the over for the entire season. Give me the Detroit Tigers plus 1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next matchup, Indians-Royals, 8:10 p.m. East. The Cleveland Indians, are minus 155. Totals 8.5. Shane Bieber for Cleveland, Angel Zerpa for Kansas City. The Royals are on a 2-game winning streak, 6-3 straight up in their last 9. This Royals lineup is in the top 10 in home scoring, top 5 in home hits. Salvador Perez is leading the league in home runs and RBI. The catcher's hit 48 home runs, and he's also knocked in 121 runners. They're taking on a Cleveland team who lost 5 out of their last 8 and ranks in the bottom 10 in hits per game at the plate. Now, total-wise, Cleveland's 42-33 to the over against the AL Central. Meanwhile, the Royals saw 2 out of their last 3 ball games at Kauffman Stadium get over the line. Give me Kansas City plus 1.5 and the over 8.5. Next ball game, D-backs, Giants, 9:45 Eastern first pitch. The San Francisco Giants are minus 215, totals 8.5. Scott Kazmir for the Giants. Madison Bumgarner for Arizona. Now, Mad Bum's 7-10 on the season with a 4.58 ERA. Arizona's currently got themselves the worst record in Major League Baseball, and they give up more runs on the road than any other team in the Bigs. They're taking on a first-place Giants club who's in the top 10 in scoring. Brandon Crawford's batting .301 with 23 home runs and 89 RBI. The shortstop's in the top 15 in both batting average and OPS. When it comes to the total in this one, the Giants are 20-14 to the over in their divisional home games. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks are going 42-30 to the over against the NL West themselves. Give me San Francisco minus 1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next and final matchup, Padres-Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are minus 210, totals 9. Tony Gonsolin for Los Angeles, Vince Velasquez for San Diego. Vinny's 0-2 with his new ball club, 9.00 ERA, 1.50 whip. The Pods are just 3-15 straight up in their last 18 games. They're also winning just 35% of their divisional road games. They're taking on a Dodger club who's been dominant within divisional play this year, 49-26 straight up against the NL West, 25-13 in their divisional home games. This LA pitching staff leads the majors in fewest hits allowed per 9. Tony Gonsolin's 4-1 with a 3.00 ERA. The righty struck out 60 batters in just 51 innings pitched. When it comes to the number, LA's 21-17 to the under against the NL West at Dodger Stadium. They also went 60% to the under in their last 10 meetings with San Diego. Give me the LA Dodgers minus 1.5 and the under 9 runs. Of that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are 8-2 in our last 10, $1.99 daily best plays on that page. Give me Milwaukee minus $1.10, under 8.5. LA Angels minus 140, under 8. Chicago Cubs minus $1.10, over 8.5. Boston minus 1.5, under 10. New York Yankees plus 1.5, over 8.5. Miami plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. Tampa Bay plus 1.5, over 8.5. Philadelphia plus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Detroit plus 1.5, over 8.5. Kansas City plus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. San Francisco, -1.5 over 8.5. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 8-2 in our last 10 $1.99 daily best plays on BrockPage.com. Give me the LA Dodgers -1.5 and the under 9. With that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that's going to go to Mike Elton, who said yesterday, "Thanks, man. You're always articulate and informative." All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on BrockPage.com. Now, guys, if you do end up getting a membership here today, just keep in mind, we utilize the Patreon platform. And Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do get a package today, you're going to get billed today and then again tomorrow. So my best advice to you is to hold off until tomorrow, October 1st. I always tell people in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at BrockPage.com.